endemicidade, mas mesmo assim você não tem receio que possa ocorrer transmissão de paciente para paciente e o VRE se tornar um problema com uma incidência maior no seu hospital?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting that even without, so before we decided to not use MRSA and VRE, contact precautions for MRSA and VRE, our rates compared to the rest of the nation were extremely low. We hardly have any MRSA bacteremia, and VRE bacteremias are very rare. So because of that, we decided to stop contact precautions for these two organisms and keep a very close eye in the rate of bacteremias with MRSA and VRE, just in case they went up, right? At the beginning, we were kind of concerned and scared whenever you make those kind of changes, especially in the bone marrow transplant unit, you're concerned. But nothing happened. Nothing happened. And similar experiences have been published in other institutions. One of them is, of course, Virginia Commonwealth University, VCU, with Gonzalo Berman and Mike Edmond. And I will have presented that data, but that data is more towards not isolating at all, rather than discontinuing isolation. That's the reason why I did not present that.
Olá. A senhora acha que no contexto de cirurgias cardíacas e ortopédicas valeria a pena manter as precauções de contato nos pacientes colonizados por MRSA? For life. Para sempre?
No. So for these patients that are carriers of MRSA or even methicillin susceptible staph aureus, what we do before the surgery is we put mupirocin and chlorhexidine applications before the surgery. And after surgery, they undergo chlorhexidine applications every day, which is more what the group of Susan Huang does, right? They do proactive decolonization of MRSA, universal decolonization with MRSA, rather than a more vertical approach. So it's a more horizontal, universal approach. Everybody undergoes, in those units, mupirocin and chlorhexidine applications.
Pouco assim na dúvida da Thaís, mas agora sobre um outro aspecto, assim, bom, primeiro, considerando o gram positivo, acho que não é o grande problema aqui no Brasil, epidemiologicamente falando, né? Realmente, o nosso grande problema é com gram negativos e cada vez mais crescente, especialmente as enterobactérias agora substituindo os não fermentadores em frequência. No entanto, tem alguns cenários, obviamente, que a MRSA eles passam a ser importantes, e VRE, situações de transplante, cirurgia cardíaca, etc. E aí essa estratégia horizontal realmente ela parece ser muito mais, até operacionalmente mais fácil. A minha pergunta é a seguinte: já que nesse cenário é o cenário que a sugestão é ter uma política de descontinuação, nenhum desses trabalhos que você apresentou discute muito a custo-efetividade, né? Eu pergunto isso porque aqui custo, de novo, é uma coisa importante. A gente geralmente tem um cobertor curto, pouco dinheiro, nós fazemos um esforço muito grande para identificar pacientes com fatores de risco, para colocá-los em precaução de contato, e sobra pouco recurso para investigar sistematicamente pacientes que sairiam dessa precaução. Então, quer dizer, eu sei que é uma pergunta que talvez você não consiga responder, mas eu não vi muito a tentativa de responder essa pergunta. O quanto isso é eficiente ou é efetivo investir recurso para retirar esses pacientes da precaução de contato?
Well, for me, it's hard to generalize because it depends on the epidemiology of the organism in your particular hospital. If you have an outbreak in a particular unit, let's say is the cardiothoracic ICU, instead of trying to identify patients that are negative and are no longer carriers and discontinue contact precautions on those patients, I will concentrate on doing universal decolonization. I will invest that small amount of resources on protecting everybody and putting mupirocin and chlorhexidine applications to everybody every day and with good techniques. As you know, you can give chlorhexidine to a unit, and unless you watch with your own eyes how the chlorhexidine is being applied, the chlorhexidine is not going to be applied correctly, and it's not going to have the impact that you're looking for. It is unbelievable. I don't know, how many people here watch or observe chlorhexidine applications in your own hospitals? So, I have observed many, and every time I observe an application, it's a different one. So that's one. Number two, how many here have chlorhexidine in wipes? Wipes? How many here use chlorhexidine in solution? So the problem with the chlorhexidine in solution is, do you know how the chlorhexidine is applied from the container to the skin of the patients? So the problem with chlorhexidine in solution is that the chlorhexidine is cold, even though it's in room temperature. If you try to apply this water to my skin, and I am underneath several layers of cloth, like in the bed, I am warm, much warmer than this liquid. So when you try to apply chlorhexidine to my skin directly, I'm going to complain as a patient. I'm going to say, it's too cold. And the people that apply chlorhexidine are going to try to resolve that problem. Unless you know that that is an issue, you are not being able to advise them on how to do that. And they're going to resolve it in different ways. Many of them are going to put this chlorhexidine bottle in the microwave for an X amount of time. And that deactivates chlorhexidine. So that's one way to resolve that issue. The other way to resolve that issue is to get a bucket, put warm water, and then pour a little bit of chlorhexidine in there. And then mix it and apply it to the patient for comfort. But what does that end up doing? The percentage of chlorhexidine that you apply in the body goes down markedly. The other problem with chlorhexidine is that it doesn't bubble. That is a major issue because most people equate bubbles with cleaning. If you get soap and you're trying to wash your hands and it doesn't bubble, you think that that soap is diluted, right? That's not good. It's the same process. The people that apply chlorhexidine in the skin of patients, if they don't see those bubbles, they don't feel good. They don't think that they're cleaning the skin of the patients. So what do? They are going to mix it with shampoo or with soap. The problem of mixing it is that the soap and the shampoo have lauryl sulfate. Lauryl sulfate inactivates chlorhexidine. So it's like applying water to the skin of the patient. All right, if you put all those issues aside, the other technical details that are usually a problem in applications of chlorhexidine is that the neck tends to be skipped, especially in patients that have trachs. So if you have a trach with a trach collar and you have an IJ or you have a subclavian, you're going to have, or intubated, you're going to be drooling right here. This is a highly contaminated area. This is the area that you want to clean to prevent infections, right? You want to disinfect this area. And that is the area that is going to be skipped by the nursing aides that apply chlorhexidine. Why? Because there are too many things here. You have the trach collar is different to take the trach collar off and apply the chlorhexidine. The other area that is very frequently missed is the perianal area. And the labia in females is skipped fairly frequently. Not the urethral meatus in males, that's covered fairly frequently. But the meatal area in females is just skipped and not well cleaned. If you don't see with your own eyes the application of chlorhexidine, this is not going to, even though you invest the money to provide chlorhexidine to your units, it's going to do nothing. And the only people that really are vested in these interventions are you guys. So if you don't watch and see, they are not going to be effective. And it's probably one of the fundamental interventions for the prevention of transmission of MRSA, VRE, and resistant gram-negatives.
Muito obrigado, Silvia. Excelente. Infelizmente, nós vamos ter que encerrar as perguntas, o nosso tempo acabou, mas eu tenho certeza que a doutora Silvia vai ficar feliz em responder perguntas aqui embaixo, se ainda tiverem. Obrigado.